welcoming you, Gooshbagz, to the 2020 Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League podcast. I am your host, the commissioner of the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League, and, of course, the reigning champ. I am going to have a fantastic week for you guys because we got Chad Keene on here with me as well. So, Chad,
hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Jay?
Doing well. So, off of a rough week here. We were just talking about that, but we'll get more into the matchup in a little bit here. But all you need to know is that I took the W. So, I'm well on my way to another championship. Big news in the NFL this week. I know, a lot of talk. I got to follow it up. Otherwise, it's not going to turn out well. So we had a couple injuries this week. We had Miles Sanders was the big one, I'd say. He had some sort of knee injury. I'm not quite sure if it was some sort of MCL sprain or he had something wrong with his knee. They didn't really come out and say, at least that I saw, they didn't really come out and say what happened. But they're saying he'd be out for 1 or 2 weeks probably. He didn't get put on IR, so that's good news. It's only short-term injury. Also for the Eagles, Zach Ertz got hurt. He had an ankle sprain. And I say good riddance to that because, now you don't have to worry about starting him because he's been playing awful all year. But, you have to start him because it's Zach Ertz, Now you don't have to think about it. We also had Jonnu Smith who had an ankle sprain, and that's just a minor ankle sprain, I guess. He went out and I guess he's questionable to return, so we'll see if he practices this week or what sort of capacity he's practicing. But he's been playing really well. And then we got Raheem Mostert with a mid-high ankle sprain, and this was big. He got put on the IR, so he's out for at least 3 weeks. So we'll see how he's doing after that. But anyway, that's Courts's. Courts's top 3 running backs are all out now. So he had CMC, who's out for at least another week or 2. He had Raheem Mostert, who's out, and then he had somebody else. I forgot who his 3rd running back is. Do you have any idea, Chad?
Sorry, what were you saying?
Courts's running backs. I'm not quite sure. He had 3 injuries. He said that's what he told us anyways. Let me take a look. No. Decent. Oh, you're playing him this week. That's good for you. He had Christian McCaffrey. He had Dallas Goedert, Raheem Mostert. Oh, yeah, and Miles Sanders. Duh. So Miles Sanders is out as well. So he's got a rough running back room here this week against you. So that'll be good. I mean, he's got he has DeAndre who did pick it up this week. And Jerick McKinnon is filling in for
more capable, and Jackson's been on the rise.
Yeah, he's questionable. Is he? He's a limited participant in practice today. So.
Oh, well, I've got Joshua Kelly. Maybe I'll have to start him.
There you go. So, but yeah. Anyway, the top scorer of the week this week, we have Aaron for the 2nd week in a row. He had 155.2 fantasy points. So I forgot to pay him last week because I did this on a Tuesday and there were games on Tuesday, so nothing, it wasn't fully finished last week. But so I got you $20 this week. So congratulations, you've almost got your money back. And we will move on to our matchup this week. So the matchup reactions for this week for the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League. The first matchup was Feast Mode versus Big Ben's Bathroom. So we talked about this a little bit. I ended up scoring not great, but 103.88 to 79.82 fantasy points. So, Chad, what are your immediate reactions to this matchup?
Hold on, I'm trying to find it here. Okay. So yeah, I wasn't really expecting to win because Melvin Gordon was out. Kelly had a bye. And then, when you make bonehead mistakes like starting Green Bay's D instead of Tampa. And then
also, Kirk Cousins didn't look so hot at the beginning either.
Yeah, I was screaming at the TV, dude.
Yeah, he had 3 interceptions.
But I mean, that's what I'm going to have to do. I have to stream people because Dak broke his friggin' leg.
Yeah, that sucks.
So,
But streaming quarterbacks is not the worst thing in the world because there's plenty of them out there. You just got to find the right matchup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was rough for you. And
just like the Packers.
Yeah, well, your studs didn't really pull through for you either. So you had Tyreek Hill scoring only 4 fantasy points. Like all of your, guys who you're looking to score double digits all were in the single digits. Like Allen Robinson, Devonta Freeman, Tyreek Hill, all kind of had a rough games. So, and we were saying Kirk Cousins had a rough start. He had 3 picks at the beginning of the game, but he had some garbage time at the end there.
He did.
Pulled himself out 23 fantasy points. So.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's formidable. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was the best score on your team.
Picked up Herbert. Herbert the pervert.
Hey, Herbert's been playing well, man.
Herbert the pervert.
Herbert the pervert. We'll see if he pulls through for you this week.
He needs to do something for his acting.
That's true. I was surprised that
he looks like he's 18.
He needs to grow a beard.
Yeah.
Maybe no shave November.
Creepy mustache.
Yeah, that too. That'll do it. That did it for Gardner. So
there you go. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, for feast mode, I mean, we had some great games from George Kittle, who had 20.4 fantasy points. He's putting up his solid. I mean, he's the only pass catcher right now in San Francisco, so that does things for a tight end, I suppose. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire was putting up his last big week here before Lev Bell gets in the lineup. So
you think that's going to go to a 50-50 type deal or what?
I think that Lev Bell is going to take over Darrell Henderson's role. I think so. Darrell Henderson's basically been
that much.
He's been playing the third down role and like the goal line back actually because CEH is so small. So,
but dude, it's still Le'Veon Bell.
It is. I know, but like he hasn't looked good. I mean, I know he's been playing for the Jets.
The Jets are dude.
I know, but he doesn't look great when he's playing. But I mean,
being in look great with that team, dude.
I was just gonna say the Chiefs' offense can make you look great. I mean, look at Damian Williams last year.
You know how to use them. That's what I'm saying.
That's true. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might.
Adam Gase is the
he sucks.
Worst coach. Did you see that stat that they showed? He was like, he's never been higher than 15th offensively.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like 15th, 27th, 30th. How has he been a coach for 4 years?
Yeah, it doesn't like he's literally he's had the slowest pace of play. He's been like 31, 32 like every year. And then points scored or whatever has been like below 15th every single year. So
and they're gonna ruin Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. No, I agree. Did you see the article that came out today that was talking about somebody on some sports show was like, Trevor Lawrence, if the Jets get the number 1 pick, you should just go back to Clemson for another year.
I was listening to part of my take today, and who was it? I think they interviewed McConaughey.
Yeah.
And he said he thinks he's going to pull like a Phil Rivers or Eli Manning and be like demanded trading on draft day.
I would.
Like do you remember that when that happened?
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts. But no, I can't imagine. I don't know if Adam Gase should not still have his job, number one. If he manages to make it throughout the season, I would be very surprised. But did you see they were talking about trading Sam Darnold and Sam Darnold I can understand, but I think it's also being part of the system. I think Sam Darnold could be better than he is anywhere else. But they're also talking about trading Jamison Crowder. They're like full on tank mode. Like
who would trade for Darnold, do you think? Where does he fit?
I don't know. I feel like the Bears would do it. Dallas might be able to do something.
Any NFC East team.
To be honest, yeah, that's true. To be honest, Dallas would be a good spot for him because he's got a hell of a lot of weapons there. So like he could actually like grow with the weapons, you know.
Yeah, but then you're obviously saying bye to Dak, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it could get a
experimental thing, and
it could be a 1-year deal until Dak gets back, but I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, speaking of awful offenses, I also had a piece of the Jaguars offense this week. I don't know why I played him.
Why did you play him?
Well, I had John Brown, who was injured, DJ Chark, who was injured going into the game. So I thought DJ Chark was going to be more of a decoy.
Yeah.
And he scored more than Laviska Shenault did. But I have James Robinson too. I just have too many pieces of this awful Jaguars offense. So I got rid of Laviska Shenault, I'm pretty sure, this week. But yeah, so I had a bunch of question marks going into so I just did a quick pickup at the end of the week to try to fill out my lineup, and it didn't work out. So he got me 2.6 fantasy points. So other than that, like, it wasn't a fantastic week for me or for you. I managed to pull out the win, but hopefully I'll get soon I'll get Dalvin Cook back after the bye, and we'll be on to better things. And you hopefully will be getting Melvin Gordon and Saquon Barkley back at some point. So no, Saquon's gone, but you get Melvin Gordon back sometime. I keep forgetting like that this is not just a redraft league, that it's a keeper. So like you keep hanging on to Saquon makes me think he's going to be back at some point at the end of the year, but nope. But you do have a new piece in Travis Fulgham.
Maybe.
Yeah, with Zach Ertz out, that might be a good. He's going to be, getting all the.
I also picked up T. Higgins. I think he's on the rise too.
That's true. Yeah, I was looking at him the last 2 weeks, but I didn't want to drop. I don't know. I had a tough time letting go of I ended up dropping John Brown this week, but I had a tough time letting go of people on my bench for T. Higgins. I don't know, but he's been solid. Yeah, he's been really good, and I think he could get a bigger piece of that offense going forward, especially as him and Joe Burrow start to jive. So things are looking good.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, on to matchup number 2. We have Thomas the Tank Engine versus starting to look like a rainbow. And I think you guys are just – I mentioned this before, but I think you guys are just, making all different names just to make me say – weird ass shit and try to forget who is who each week. But anyways, we have Thomas the Tank Engine, which is Benaiah, versus James, starting to look like a rainbow, and he has the Lucky Charms guy as his logo. So Thomas the Tank Engine put up 129.9 fantasy points. He pulled out a victory on the back of the 69-yard touchdown run from Kenyon Drake this week. And James's team scored 115.9 fantasy points. So the studs on Thomas the Tank Engine, we had Julio Touchdown Jones with 2 touchdowns this week, finally putting up those, getting those touchdowns now that he's back from injury. He had 29.7 fantasy points. We have Kenyon 69 Drake. I put that in because of the 69-yard touchdown run at the end of the game. That completely screwed up so many people's weeks just on that one 70-yard touchdown run at the end of the week.
Yep.
That had to have changed so many games. So 28.4 fantasy points. He's finally breaking out. Kenyon Drake getting his due. He's been getting a lot of work this year, so it's about time that he actually made some fantasy gold out of it. And then I always screw this up. Young Hoi Koo, even though it looks like Young Ho Koo. He put up 20 fantasy points this week, so he had a great outing against Minnesota. I'm sorry. In the duds category, unfortunately, our boy Aaron Rodgers. So
yeah, that was rough.
That was a rough week for sure. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I think I'm good. Just leaving it at that. So, James's team. We had the studs for James's team. He had Will Fuller, the 5th, at 21.3 fantasy points. He's been putting up. He's the number 1 now. Now that DeAndre Hopkins is gone, he's been playing well, and he's not getting hurt, which is very important for him. Yep. We got Patrick Mahomes, who put up 20.6 fantasy points, and the Pittsburgh defense, who beat down Cleveland's offense, which was kind of a surprise for me. because Cleveland's offense has been putting up a lot of points recently. A lot of it has been through the ground game, and Pittsburgh's defense is really good against the ground. So, maybe Pittsburgh's defense is just better than Cleveland's run game. So
Yeah, well, yeah.
With Chubb out, I guess that's kind of their 1-2 punch is gone. So, in the duds category, we had Zach Ertz with 5.3 fantasy points, and you can just put him in your IR spot for the next few weeks, and maybe just drop him because he's not worth even rostering right now. So, although in this tight end landscape, who knows? It's been bad
because you never know.
Yeah, it's true. All right, on to matchup number 3. We have my tight end Ertzwin Eifert versus the Breeze Knees. So my tight end Ertzwin Eifert, obviously we talked about him. He put up 155.2 fantasy points this week versus the Breeze Knees. Meager 105.08 fantasy points, at least when compared to the 155. So Deshaun Watson put up a huge game for Aaron this week. He had 32 fantasy points. He's finally breaking out. I mean, he had a rough first 3 weeks because he was playing against like the Steelers and Lamar Jackson, Ravens, and I forgot the Bills. Maybe he had some rough matchups at the beginning of the year. So he's finally playing some easier teams and putting up some good fantasy points. We have Derrick Henry. Man, this guy was a monster this week. He had 212 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He also had 2 catches for 52 yards. So he had a monstrous game. He had what was that last catch in overtime, or was that a run? Did you watch that?
Yeah, it was. Are you talking about his last touchdown?
No, he had a super the first play of overtime.
No, I thought you were talking about the last touchdown. I know he was.
The touchdown, yeah, that was a 94-yard run. That was insane, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was crazy. But no, I think in overtime, I think his first run was like 50 yards or something to put him in field goal range, and then they ended up scoring a touchdown to win the game. But yeah, they were on opposite sides of the ball, Derrick Henry and Deshaun Watson. So that was a good game, and obviously lots of fantasy points were scored.
Yeah.
He also had Travis Kelce with 19 fantasy points this week. So Travis Kelce doing Travis Kelce things. He didn't really have any duds. I mean, his position player that scored the least was Jamison Crowder, and he had 8.3 fantasy points. So, I mean, San Francisco's D only had 5. Robbie Gould had 7. I'd say that's a solid week. I mean, putting up 155 fantasy points, can't really complain. So,
right.
We have the Breeze Knees here. The Breeze Knees, which Adam, you really didn't have too many good players on your team this week. You had Justin Jefferson putting up a third of your fantasy points with 35.1 fantasy points. So that's insane. That was a good pickup, by the way. Justin Jefferson's a beast right now. So I'll give you props for that, but you need to solidify the rest of your team. So he tried to play Alexander Mattison in Dalvin Cook's absence, and Alexander Mattison does not play like Dalvin Cook does. As much as they love to talk about him, and we had never seen it, and this was the first full game that Mattison had to kind of prove his worth, and he did not do well. So they'll be happy to have Dalvin Cook back after the bye. He also played the Rams against San Francisco's offense. The Rams defense had -1 fantasy points, so they didn't have any turnovers. They had no sacks. They gave up 24 points and between 350 and 399 yards. So not so good. Although their defense has been good most of the year, but San Francisco, maybe they're starting to find their rhythm here.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. If George Kittle keeps getting passes, that's all I care about. So, we have matchup number 4 this week, which was good Juju versus decent Juju. Now, Courts, you should have maybe thought about changing the name to something better than decent Juju, because you only scored 73.38 fantasy points this week, which was worse than Chad. So, Chad was not the worst on the week. Courts, it was you. And you lost to Ryo, who put up 92.62 fantasy points. So Ryo had Kyler Murray on his team, Ronald Jones putting up big games. Kyler Murray had 28.92 fantasy points, and Ronald Jones had 25.1. So those were some great games out of them. Ronald Jones is starting to find his rhythm, even with, I think Fournette was back this game, wasn't he, or was he out? He might have been out.
He was like a last-second scratch.
Ah, okay. I knew it was in contention to play. I didn't know if he was in or out. I don't think it changes much when Fournette comes back. I think Ronald Jones has solidified his role. So at least you'll have a solid running back with him going forward. And you also have Josh Jacobs and Alvin Kamara coming back this week from bye. So you're looking good for next week. The duds, though, he is not having a good time with his wide receivers. He had Juju with 1.6 fantasy points. Mark Andrews kind of put up a stinker with 3.1, and Matt Breida with 3.2 fantasy points. I think Matt Breida was just a desperation play. He had a rough time. He just needed a running back because he had 2 running backs on bye, so that'll do it. Decent Juju. You didn't have any studs this week here, Courts, so you better solidify your lineup here. You seeing this? This is looking sad. We got OBJ with 3.5 fantasy points. We got Mike Gesicki with 0 fantasy points. Things are not looking good. So I don't know. I mean, part of the reason is, you've got many of your running backs hurt, which is a problem. But you need to figure it out. Your wide receivers aren't good either. Maybe you got to do some trades. Maybe you got to do some better waiver wire pickups. Maybe spend more money on Fab because you're not getting your waiver wire pickups. You're losing on waiver wires. Tying bids doesn't do it for you. So, all right, on to matchup number 5. We have Mixon Mack versus the running Mayfields. So, Mixon Mack takes down the running Mayfields 107.14 to 83.82 fantasy points. So we have Mixon Mack had Lamar Jackson with 28.24 fantasy points. He had a total of 186 passing yards, which I think is insane. It's only 186, but he ended up running for over 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah, so he obviously can get it done with his legs, but he just has not looked good, and that is not good for Mark. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's because they're not running the ball well.
No, they're not, which is crazy because
their passing game is based on their ability to run.
Right. Yeah. So if they can't establish that running game, then they can't throw the ball downfield. They don't have the time to get for the routes to develop or anything like that. So yeah, he's having a rough time, and he's not looking good throwing either. He's not been accurate. So I don't know. It's a combination of the two.
The sophomore slump.
I guess so. Everybody's loving him this year. Maybe not the greatest keeper, although I would have done the same thing. So
I kept him in. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But you also had Mahomes in that league, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I don't feel too bad for you.
Yeah.
But in the duds category for Mixon Mack, he had Eric Ebron filling in as tight end. That's a name I feel like I haven't heard in a while. Eric Ebron with 1.3 fantasy points. He didn't do so hot this week. And then Cooper Kupp with 2.6 fantasy points. And if he doesn't get a touchdown, it's kind of tough for him to be fantasy relevant. The Rams offense has been okay, but they've kind of split up all Jared Goff kind of spreads it around a little bit. So nobody's Robert Woods isn't getting hyper targeted anymore. They're more of a run offense, and then the passing, they're spreading it around. So got to rely on that touchdown.
Yeah.
The running Mayfields had A.J. Brown with 20.1 fantasy points coming back from an injury. He did fantastic. He also had, in the duds category, Mike Evans. Are you concerned about Mike Evans?
Yeah.
I would be. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I mean he's had a few good weeks, but it's only been because he's scoring touchdowns. He had, I guess he said 2 of the 6 weeks over 100 yards, and everything else has been 41 yards or under.
Mm-hmm.
So he's either being hyper targeted or barely targeted at all.
Yeah, there's not much consistency there.
All right. I mean, he scored in every week except for this week, so he hasn't really been a dud until now. But yeah, I'd be concerned with the yardage he's getting each game. We also have Jonnu Smith with 1.8 fantasy points, and he got hurt partway through, and he didn't come back, so he only got 1 catch for 13 yards this game. So if he gets back healthy, he'll be okay. And then Chase Edmonds had 3.4 fantasy points. Not a bad start the way that Kenyon Drake has been playing. And Chase Edmonds have been getting a little bit more of the work. But Kenyon Drake kind of chose this game to take over. So Chase Edmonds didn't really have the chance.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's all the matchups for this week. So we are on to the waiver wire team that would have destroyed all of us. We have Carson Wentz at the quarterback position. He had 29.42 fantasy points, putting up solid weeks. Did you say you ended up grabbing Carson Wentz? No, somebody grabbed Carson Wentz today. I forgot who it was. Adam, I think, grabbed him. The running back one was Darrell Williams with 10.6 fantasy points. Now the running back waivers have just been not good at all, and it really sucks because of how many.
There's nobody out there.
Yeah, because of how many starters are injured, everybody's being owned. There's nobody out there that anybody wants a piece of. We had Gus. I'm sorry. Speaking of which, Gus Edwards was the running back 2 this week with 8.6 fantasy points on the waiver wire team. So obviously nobody wants anybody on the running back waivers this week. On the other hand, we had some good weeks out of the wide receivers. We had Keelan Cole with 17.3 fantasy points. He's where all those Laviska Shenault targets went to this week. So it's just it's a toss-up who's going to have the good week over in Jacksonville. And then T. Higgins, who's on your team now, 15.7 fantasy points. He's been consistently in the low teens, which is a solid a solid flex play or wide receiver too.
He shows a lot of room for improvement too. He's only a rookie.
Yeah, he's a rookie. So breaking out this early his rookie year, it bodes well for him.
Yep. Let's see where it goes.
Now, the biggest booms of the week were the tight end position, actually. We had Anthony Ferkser, at 21.3 fantasy points, and he kind of filled in for Jonnu Smith after he got hurt, and he had a big week. So that bodes well for the tight end position in Tennessee. We also have Trey Burton, ex-Bear, now on the Indianapolis Colts, who had 19.9 fantasy points. He's been looking solid, actually. He's had some solid weeks recently, so we'll see if he keeps it up going forward.
Been decent.
Yeah. The defense that had the best week this week was the Broncos D. They had 15 fantasy points. And then Brandon McManus had 24 fantasy points. He's been putting up some solid weeks. I was going to pick him up, but he's playing against Pittsburgh this week, so I didn't feel good about the kicker position. So this team, because of Brandon McManus, would have scored 161.82 fantasy points, which is only 6 points more than Aaron scored this week. So it was a close one. But the waiver wires are 5-1 for the year.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know. Yeah, the only reason I said this on a previous podcast, but the only reason I started keeping track was because Brandon beat them one week. And I think that's the first time that it's ever happened. Like, it's always crazy how many points are out on the waiver wires. So, like, they've always put up, like, between 160 and 200 fantasy points, like, most weeks. So it was crazy that Brandon won one week. So that's why I started keeping tabs this year. But waivers are 5-1. So, all right, on to the most exciting part and the part where you are most involved. I'm sorry, it's been kind of a one-man show so far.
No worries.
But we have matchup predictions for next week, so this will be fun. Last week, Adam and I were both 2 for 5. So.
Rough.
Yeah, so hopefully we can step it up this week. We'll see what Chad and I have in store this week. So matchup number 1 is my matchup. We'll go with Feast Mode versus the Running Mayfields. So I'll give you a chance to pull it up and take a look. I've already looked it through. So I picked myself because I think the running backs for the Running Mayfields obviously are slim because Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler are down. So he's running out there with Darrell Henderson against the Bears. Todd Gurley might have a decent week against Detroit, but and then he has Boston Scott filling in for Miles Sanders. And Boston Scott, I feel good about this because Boston Scott has not looked good this year.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he has a great game against New York, but
They play.
the Giants, they're playing on Thursday.
Who else would they play at running back?
Oh, that's a good question. But he might just be ineffective. Yeah, I mean, he could be a good volume play, and he might get decent points. I don't know, but I feel relatively confident going up against this team. He does have AJ Brown, and we'll see if Russell Wilson, obviously. So he's got the edge at quarterback, and maybe at I don't know. I don't know if he has too many edges. I think I got my team this week.
You don't think that the Pittsburgh-Tennessee game is going to be a shootout?
What, the Pittsburgh-Tennessee game?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's going to be a shootout.
You don't?
No. I think Pittsburgh's D is going to do a good job against Tennessee. I mean, I know Tennessee's been really good, but Pittsburgh's defense is like lockdown. Like, they're the type of team that could stop. I say stop Derrick Henry, but I think they could hold him to under 100 yards.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It could be if a good enough offense goes up against Pittsburgh's defense, then it could be a shootout. But I don't know if I see it.
Yeah. I think. So you chose yourself.
I did.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna choose you on this one too. The only thing is that he's got Russell Wilson. He could put up a ton of points.
Yeah, they're playing against Arizona too. So, but if they get out,
be a shootout.
Yeah, that will be a shootout. So, that is a possibility. He does have the edge in the quarterback position. So,
I think I'm gonna go with you on this one.
Okay. Good choice. Good choice. All right. Well, then we'll go to your matchup next. So you are playing against Courts this week. So we got Big Ben's Bathroom versus Decent Juju. So I picked you this week because I think that Tyreek Hill is going to bounce back. Denver's defense isn't really one to be scared of too much. I mean, they did have a good week last week, but they had a good matchup. So, Kansas City's defense hasn't been great against the run. They've been good against the pass, but they've given up points to the running game. So I think Melvin Gordon's going to be good. Justin Herbert has a great matchup against Jacksonville. So I picked you because I don't. While his running backs could have a good game, I think that they're going to have a rough time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to pick against myself on this one.
Picking against yourself? This is the second time in a row somebody's picked against themselves
this week. Philip Lindsay. I think Philip Lindsay is going to cut into Gordon's production this week. I think Robinson's going to struggle against the Rams. And I mean, my best running back so far right now has really been Myles Gaskin. He's got a bye.
Oofda, yeah.
I mean,
you should play Fulgham.
I don't know.
It's tough to play him over Allen Robinson, Tyreek Hill, and Kenny Galladay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'll just roll with this and see what happens. But I think Josh Allen's going to bounce back, probably have a huge game against the Jets. Swift looks good. McKinnon's their number one. Any number one in that system usually produces. Normally.
New England's defense has been good, though, this year.
Diggs against the Jets. Again, the Jets just suck. So
you might be convincing me here.
Sorry, man. I should be apologizing to myself. I mean, Dalton Schultz, who knows?
Yeah, I feel like he's just like patching a team together, but they all have good matchups this week.
Buffalo really could score 1,000,000 points against the Jets defense this week.
They could. And their defense could score 1,000,000 points against the Jets offense. So
yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna go with Courts.
I'm gonna switch it because you convinced me. Yeah, I don't know why, but I did not look at the matchups. I just looked at the players, and the matchups really convinced me this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna apologize to you. Just tank for the first pick.
Tank for Trevor.
All right, so on to matchup number 3. We have starting to look like a rainbow, like a 3 rainbow, versus my tight end Ertzwin Eifert. So I looked at this matchup, and James has Adam Thielen on a bye, which is rough because Adam Thielen is the number 2 wide receiver in the league right now.
Is he really?
He is. So he's got Pittsburgh's defense, which, like you said, I mean, Tennessee, if anybody could put up points, it'd be either Tennessee, or the Chiefs, I'd say right now.
Yeah. He's got 2 solid running backs, and he got Singletary.
He does. Yeah, that's true. His running backs do have really good matchups. He's got Will Fuller against the Packers, which is a good matchup.
Hey.
It's a good matchup. He's gonna have to replace Zach Ertz. Darius Slayton against Philadelphia might be good, but he's gotta patch something together for his wide receiver position. He doesn't really have. He's got Emmanuel Sanders. I guess he could throw in Darius Slayton, and then he could put in maybe Devin Singletary or Emmanuel Sanders in his flex.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's got to patch something together here.
He's got to play Singletary against the Jets for sure.
Yeah, but either way, he's got some good matchups, but I don't think he can take down my tight end Ertz because he's just got so he's got James White in his lineup now, but he's getting Chris Carson and DK Metcalf back. They're not in his lineup yet, and so Chris Carson's been fantastic. DK Metcalf has been fantastic. I don't think that James really has a chance.
Arizona bottled up Zeke, right?
That's true.
But they're going to be more concerned with the pass.
Yeah, I mean, they've been passing the ball.
Pittsburgh's got a good run defense, though.
That's true. Yeah, like you said, I mean.
I think I'm going to probably go with Buck on that one.
Yeah.
Barring that he puts in Metcalf and Carson.
I'm sure he will. Maybe he won't. He might not even look at his lineup, so we'll see. That's his loss, I suppose. All right, on to the next matchup. We have the Breeze Knees versus Good Juju. So we have Ryo versus Adam this week. Ryo's got a few buys on his docket here, but he's also getting back Josh Jacobs and Alvin Kamara. So he's got to fill in at the tight end position. He's got TJ Hawkinson. So I don't think there's any way that he loses this matchup because he's got Kyler Murray against Seattle. He's got Ronald Jones against the Raiders. He's got Alvin Kamara versus Carolina. And Josh Jacobs is versus Tampa Bay, so that might be a rough game for him. But, I mean, I think the first 4 guys, I don't think that Adam really has a chance.
I think if Adam puts Lockett in his flex,
yeah,
I think
he's got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, no, never mind.
Yeah, Mike Davis is against the Saints, playing against the Saints. Zeke is against Washington, who actually have a good defensive front. So
yeah, I'm gonna go with Good Juju.
Yeah, we're agreeing on all of these.
Hey, you're the one that decided to change your pick.
I did. I swapped a pick. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe on this last matchup, we'll disagree. So the last matchup we have Mix and Mac versus Hooper Cooper Super Trooper. So and this surprised me. Hooper Cooper Super Trooper has got a formidable lineup this week now that he's got his wide receivers back, Julio Jones, Devontae Adams. Kenny Drake has a good matchup, so maybe he'll bounce or he'll continue his streak this week against Seattle. David Montgomery's against the Rams. That might be a tough matchup. He might have to do a little swap ski in his. I would do a swap ski in the flex position. I don't know if I'd start Antonio Gibson this week. I might put in Amari Cooper instead. But that's just me. I also told him to keep Kenny Drake, and that hasn't turned out for him. So do with that what you will. On the other hand, Matt Stafford, who's a streamer this week, streaming for Mix and Mac. He's got Atlanta this week, so that's a good matchup. He's got Joe Mixon against Cleveland. That's a good matchup. James Conner might have a tough time against Tennessee. Who knows? But they've been shootouts. Tennessee's been putting up shootouts. So, I mean, like you said, if Pittsburgh's defense gives up some points, then this could be a shootout.
Yeah, it could be.
Cooper Kupp's against Chicago. That's going to be rough. Chris Godwin is against the Raiders, so that'll be a good matchup. I don't know. I think I'm still feeling Benaya here. Hooper Cooper Super Trooper. Because he's got his two major wide receivers back. I think that'll be a big boon to his team.
Yeah.
Plus Tom Brady against the Raiders, so there's that.
Yeah. It's tough.
It is. This is a close one. This is the closest one of all of them, I think, to predict.
This one could have a lot of points. I'm going to go with Mix and Mac.
There you go. Just to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he does have a good – I mean, like I said, this is really close. So I don't know how I feel about Deebo Samuel in the flex spot, but yeah, I mean, this could be close. This could be, like you said, these could be shootouts. So we'll see. We will see how it goes. Yeah. We got one different answer, so that could be the deciding factor. Or that will be the deciding factor, actually. So we'll see how it goes. But we have one question before we close it out this week, and this is something that Benaya asked like 3 weeks ago, and I completely forgot to put it in that week's docket, and then I forgot about it for the subsequent weeks. So, Chad, I'll ask you this first. Are there any sort of life lessons that we can learn from fantasy football?
I would say if you don't like the broad you have, go to the free agent wire.
That's applicable, that's for sure.
It's never as bad as you think it is, and it's never as good as you think it is.
That's true. That's a good one. That's a really good one. You can always turn it around.
Yeah, that's all I got. What do you got?
I was going to say it's good, good to learn some smack talk. Like, you're building your smack talk skills. Okay. Very applicable to life. I smack talk everybody. So
it teaches you how to deal with disappointment.
That's true. I was going to say it teaches you to be a good or bad loser and or winner. Mm-hmm. So it can at least reveal what kind of winner and loser you are.
Yeah.
And maybe if you keep losing, it'll help you change the fact that you're a bad loser or a good loser. So, I think as not difficult as the difficulties are for fantasy football, it can feel way worse than it is, and maybe build you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Put some thicker skin on you and help you moving forward. I don't know. I kind of take fantasy football seriously, but as far as life lessons go, I don't know. Yeah, try to have a little bit of fun with life and take everything with a grain of salt. Yeah. Don't take anything too seriously, I don't think. If you're not enjoying it, then why are you doing it?
Good point.
So, don't take that lesson into life, though. That's not it. That came out wrong for life. If you're not enjoying it, there's always ways to improve it. That's what we'll take into life. But yeah. Well, Chad, thank you so much for joining me this week. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And the rest of you Gooshbagz, good luck this week. I'll take you to the house. I'll keep my $10 this week. So we're gonna move forward, and you'll see me in the championship eventually. So all right, I'll see you guys later. You guys have a great week, and I'll catch you next week.